that they saw this 20 to 30 foot snake, and that it was like just waving, or not waving, just like going through the water. But once they made eye contact with the children, apparently the creature stopped and it went right back down into the water. In 1882, this elusive serpent-like creature was seen by eyewitnesses in Toronto, but this time they said that it was 50 foot wide and it was as thick as a human being. Now, throughout the years, these occurrences have been explained as, oh, it was just a prank that these children were doing, or, you know, the waves. Yeah, it was a natural but strange occurrence nevertheless. But we here at Haunted Walk believe that there's way too many of these occurrences to dismiss them all as simple, overactive imagination. So, perhaps there may be some truth to these tales, and there may be monsters here. So tonight, as we sail the dark waters of Lake Ontario, I encourage you all to take a look and ask yourselves what may be lurking deep. Now, just to get us a bit more cozy with one another, the precise location. Now, I have my own private theories about why that must be, but I would like to ask your opinion afterwards once you hear the story. It starts with a lonely lighthouse keeper who was looking over a rocky shore during a raging storm, and through flashes of lightning and driving rain, the man could see what looked like another man who was desperately clinging on to a piece of wood in the heaving waves. So the lighthouse keeper was trained in what to do in emergency situations, so his instincts kicked in, and he ran down the slippery rocks only to see the series of massive waves just crashing that poor man, and eventually the waves threw the man to the rocks where the lighthouse keeper was standing. And although he could finally see the man up close, he saw that the man was severely bruised, injured, bleeding, and unconscious. However, he was still breathing. He also saw that the man had a fat money belt around his waist. Now, the lighthouse keeper thought to himself, why shouldn't I have this money? This guy is not going to make it. He's breathing, but barely. By the time I call the authorities or the rescuers to come and help me, it's going to be too late. He's not going to make it. Why shouldn't I have it? So he made a decision. He opened the money belt, stole the money, which was more money than he had ever seen in his entire life, and he pushed the man back into the water. Now, this decision cost him, because shortly after, the nightmares began. Every single night, the lighthouse keeper started to have dreams of how the doomed man that he had pushed would show up to his lighthouse, and he would be crawling up the rocks, croaking, where is it? Where is it? Clearly looking for his lost fortune. And all that was left was a puddle of water in the wooden floor. Now, I believe that they probably don't want us to hear the story or share their precise location, because they're probably reaping the benefits of the money that he stole. Were arrested, but they were never convicted because the body was never found. And stories began to speculate and start around. Tonight is the first night that I haven't seen them all up here. There's usually thousands of them gathered around. That's why they're part of our tour. But today it seems that they've left, and I probably think it's because of the temperature. I don't know about you. Harbour Island to hear some more ghost stories. I'm going to ask that you all stay seated until the captain gives us the okay, and that you all watch your feet once you get off. We have these little stairs right here. I can help you up if you need them. And well, again, if you want to grab something to drink before we go, please feel free to do so. Also, friends, if you have any ghost stories of your own that you would like to share to the group, I would love to hear some. Okay, stop right here. Wonderful. Now, I think a lot of hobbies require tons of bravery. Let's see, bungee jumping, skydiving, getting into a boat and having a stranger tell you ghost stories. That's not my idea of fun, but kudos to you all. You're all very, very brave. But very specifically, the bravest of them all is, well, the divers who choose to go down into the freezing waters of the Great Lakes and go investigate some shipwrecks around the area. Now just imagine you are a diver yourself and you're swimming in the hallway of a shipwreck and the cold is seeping into your bones and in your scuba gear, and then in the dark waters ahead, something moves. In 1977, there was a new shipwreck that was discovered in Lake Superior. It was the SS Kamloops, and the Kamloops had disappeared around 50 years before in 1924, around December. Now, apparently, before the ship went down, it was more ice than it was wood. And some of the bodies that were found were temporarily buried in Lake Superior, but then they were eventually moved to Thunder Bay. Now, when the divers discovered the SS Kamloops, they said that it was eerily well preserved and in great detail, more than the Titanic, they said. Now, apparently, there was the candy wrapper still attached to the candy, and ironically, guess what candy it was? It was Lifesaver candies. The cargo of the Kamloops was completely undamaged, and in the engine room, there was a corpse. Now, the Lake Superior is freezing. It is so cold. So when a body goes down, it doesn't decompose. It goes through this process called saponification. So that happens when the fats and the oils of the body create this waxy cast, which preserve it in great detail. Okay, friends, just watch your step as we go through here. These metal things on the floor make a really big noise.
Hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, we're on a little haunted tour walk from the boat. We're at Crystal Beach there, so let's take a look.
Okay. Are you ready to hear one more story over here? Great. Okay. Everywhere around the Great Lakes, there's stories of shipwrecks and ghost ships. And right here on this very own Lake Ontario, if you do lay eyes on some of these ghostly vessels and their phantom sails, it is considered to be a bad omen. Now in 1812, there was an American fleet that was preparing an attack right here to the Toronto harbor. Now the Americans were on the American side and the British were on right here on the north side, but the winds had died down. And both fleets decided to not attack. And by the way, they were way too far away from each other to cause any damage. So they decided to wait overnight for the wind to come back. Because at this time, you need winds for the sail in order to go forth. So as both fleets lay calmly in the water, all of a sudden, more wind and more climate needs that they required just bombarded them more than they could ever want. There was this violent storm that took them all by. Is doomed, or if we're okay. Now I have some of the rules here that they created, and they're divided into categories, and at the end we're going to tally up the points and see how many rules we're breaking. You ready? Now there's inherently bad luck things that you can't really change about yourself, and there's a few here. Did anyone lie to me at the beginning of the tour about their name and is actually named Jonah? Is anyone Jonas?
Yes.
No Jonas? Are you a Jonah? No? Okay. Don't mess with me now. We're talking about my luck here. Now this was a bit personal, but are there any members of the clergy here this evening? A nun, a priest, a pastor, a pope?
Is that good or bad luck?
Bad luck. Very, very bad luck.
Nope.
No? Great. Is anyone here a redhead?
No.
Redhead?
No.
Blondes and brunettes only?
Yeah.
Gucci. Great, great, great.
That's great.
How about, there's things in regards to weather, is the next category here. Did anyone see if this morning it was a red sky, a red sunrise?
Sleeping.
I don't know, still sleeping.
Okay, great, great, great. How about the clouds? Rolling clouds are bad luck for sure.
No.
No.
Oh, very clear.
Yeah.
Stars even.
Great. Now the next category is calendars. Is today a Friday?
No.
Great. Today's what, Thursday?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, and is today a 13th?
No.
No? Okay. Good, good. So far, so well. We have 0 points. Awesome. All right. Did anyone make the terrible mistake when they got a little hungry and got some grub? Did anyone bring a banana aboard?
No.
No bananas?
In your pocket or
We're
inside?
flying. Great. That's a guaranteed curse. And that comes actually from Pirates of the Caribbean. No bananas, right? You see, the ships would go down in the Caribbean and the only thing that would float would be the bananas. So after that, they said no-nos. Bananas are no. Did we hear any whistling tonight? That's not an invitation to start either, my friends. No?
No, those.
Well, now we've heard one. We have 1 point now. We're breaking one rule. And now, the worst of them all, the most terrible mistake, the most terrible omen ever. Okay. Technically, I'm going to say it. Are there any women aboard?
Yeah, there's 4.
Women?
5.
Oh no, we've been cursed from the start. Alright, so only women and whistling. What we're going to do is we have 2 points, 2 rules that we're breaking. We're going to grab whatever collar you're wearing and you're going to yank it apparently that's the only spell that you can do to ward off bad luck and any bad effects. Well done. Thank you all so much for playing that game with me. Really appreciate it. Now, we are down to some of our last stories. After this one, we're going to have a little media break. I'm going to allow you all to stand up, and you can come up to this point right here, but you cannot pass the line. You're welcome to take this lantern and take some pictures with it afterwards.
Okay.
It is going to be the best view of the Toronto skyline you'll ever see in your entire life. It's wonderful. Okay. Let me just get...
Please like and subscribe and comment. Help our channel grow.
the history surrounding the building. As you can see for this one as well. Now, we're going to pass it in just a little bit, but in 1949, the Enway Theatre was the site for the Queen's Quay Terminal, and the section of a passenger ship called the SS Veronica was affected by this fire. At night, it caught fire, and according to the firefighters, the fire spread so quickly and so fast that it was completely engulfed in flames very quickly. And this was because it was a stove, highly flammable substance, so no wonder it caught flames. And because this was a passenger ship and they had docked here for the night, the crew was not on board. So the passengers didn't know that the ship was on fire. And they didn't know dying were louder than the sirens of the firefighters. Now it took hours to put down the fire. The glass windows were completely melted. The steel of the ship was twisted, and even after they waited, more waiting had to be done because they had to give time for the metal pool to cool down. Now, once the firefighters were finally able to go in, they said that in the hallway there were charred skeletons that were found in a position of embrace. So people died holding each other. Some of the bodies were completely suffocated or burned inside of their cabin. And some folks were completely incinerated to the point where all that was left was their ashes and their jewelry. And for the first time ever in Canadian history, forensic dentistry came into play because the only way to identify the remains of the passengers was by their teeth. Now, the bodies were temporarily stored in that ice house that now is the Enway Theatre. And we're right in front of it right now. It is this building that has this long chimney-looking feature. It has no lights whatsoever. It's right there. And ever since it turned into a theater in 1990, strange occurrences have been happening there. One night, there was a technician that was going up into the control room, and to go up there, you have to go through a stairwell that's in spirals down from the other side of the staircase. And so the technician prepared for an embrace. He was like, "Oh, sorry, man," or something like that. He's just like, "Okay, I'm about to bump someone or I have to move." But a collision or an embrace or a bump never occurred because the figure of the man completely passed through him, and all the technician remembers is
We had a fun night. It's a great experience. You all should try it once in a lifetime. Thanks again. Don't forget to subscribe.